You know, it's pretty rude to think about clicking off of a video the second that you click onto it. Like, what is it, like a commitment issue sort of thing? Well, go ahead and watch Slop then. Go back to scrolling short after short after short after short and numbing yourself out by just becoming the zeitgeist, becoming the perfect little pawn that YouTube and Google and whatever unnamed tech entities want you to be. You could do that. You could do that. You could let your brain rot away slowly. You could become a husk. You could become just another vector of brain rot. Or you could go to sleep. That's what I help you do. I'm an ASMR artist. You know, I help you relax. I help you slow down a little bit. I help you focus. And obviously you know that that's what you need. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You clicked on an ASMR video, right? You clicked on an ASMR video. So you're here to focus. You're here to focus. You're here to relax. You're here to lock in. You're here to try and sleep. You don't want to just become a vector for brain rot, right? You want to be chill. You want to feel your brain slow down. Do you want to see what it looks like whenever you scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll? You end up like my friend here. They used to be my friend, at least. You end up like my friend here with the sword of judgment. Just going straight through their torso. You. This becomes you. You don't want to become this guy. Look. No personality. Boring. Uncreative. To stop creating is to die. And you know what? You know what happens whenever you just scroll and scroll and scroll and go to YouTube Shorts or TikTok or just keep flitting back between your messages and your Gmail and Facebook Marketplace and Depop and Discord memes, and you just do this ridiculous little dance? You know what happens? You stop creating. You become like a trash can. You become a trash can that a whole bunch of trash just gets dumped into. And all of that trash just congeals into the sword of judgment. And then it kills you. And then you end up on the wall. And then you end up on the wall. Just sitting there with all the other empty husks. Just sitting there. A skeleton. Empty. You could be dreaming your own beautiful dreams. You could be alive. Alive. To sleep is a form of life. Do you know that? I'm just going to pick up this mic so very delicately. To sleep is a form of life. And whenever you deny yourself sleep, whenever you deny yourself dreams, you commit an act of self-erasure, because YouTube and Google and whatever unnamed tech entities that want to bring about the end of the world, the end of humanity, they don't want you to dream your own dreams. They want you to dream of life. Wi-Fi browser extension that gives you a cursor that is algorithmically steered. They want to give you a cursor that is algorithmically steered. They want to completely control your internet activity, which then ends up controlling your brain. So go ahead, watch Slop. Just do it. Just click on a video and then click off right away. Why do I care? Why do I care who lives and who dies and who survives in this wretched world? The reason is that it's not wretched. Okay, the reason is that it's not wretched. The reason is that I actually do care. I care because I think this world is beautiful, and I think the more people get to witness it, the better. Because any ounce of life not consciously witnessed and enjoyed gives me like FOMO for the universe. Like, we're here experiencing the universe, you know, we're here and we just get to sit back and enjoy it. We just get to sit back and enjoy the universe. And whenever we don't enjoy the universe doesn't get to be enjoyed. And there's so many things that are just so fun to experience in only the way that we humans can whenever we are conscious, cognitively engaged. Oh God, let me try that again. This is so hard. I want to try to do it without my elbows though. Okay, there we go. I just had to move my feet forward a little bit. Whenever we offload our cognition the way that we do, whenever we let algorithms make our choices about what we consume, I mean, we become trash can. You know, we become trash can. I don't want you to be trash can. I want you to be choosing what you consume. And that's what you did when you clicked this video. You decided based on a title or a thumbnail, or because you're loyal to me. You're my favorite. You decided that you wanted to watch this video because there was something in it that called to you. It wasn't just given to you by Google, by the unnamed entities. You know that you clicked this and that you're responsible for getting tingles or not getting tingles, not getting any tingles. You could be getting tingles or you could be not getting tingles. Whenever you just scroll, I mean, you can't really feel proud of yourself, can you? Do you ever feel pride when you scroll? I don't. I can't take credit for finding interesting things, but whenever I'm walking around a library, do you have any of those memories of walking around a book fair or a library whenever you were younger? Whenever, I don't know, maybe you were at a book fair, and you were in elementary school, or you were at a library, a town library, and you picked up a book that you had never even heard of, but you read the summary on the back, or you judge it by its cover, and you judge wisely. That ends up being a life-changingly perfect, wonderful book. That makes you feel proud, doesn't it? Or whenever you pick a really good watermelon at the grocery store, and then you cut into it and it is so red and ripe and sweet and juicy and delicious, then you feel proud. And that's because you're not being a trash can. That's because you're choosing. That's because you are choosing. My trash can has no right to feel proud whenever I throw away valuable things, you know? Because sometimes I throw away valuable things because I can't be bothered. But for whatever reason, whenever I throw away things that have moderate to high value, should my trash can feel proud? No. It should not, because it's just a trash can and it was me who put it in there. Whenever you find a golden TikTok or YouTube short or whatever it is, you have nothing to be proud of. You just get to say, wow, Google is such a good company. You're just licking the boot and saying, boot, I want to be good trash for you, boot. Please just let me be good garbage can for the rest of my life, Mr. Boot. And that's it. And that's just no way to live. No. You should be an explorer, an adventurer, an entrepreneur, and better yet, you should be a creative. You should be planting seeds in the ground, and you can't do that when you're watching Slop. But if you really don't care about your own dignity and the dignity of all the people around you, then go ahead. Whatever. Watch Slop. Watch Slop. Sloppity, 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 slop. Become a vector for the algorithm. Become a vector for the algorithm. Become a husk. Become boring. Become boring. Either way, it all ends in silence and sleep. Either way, it ends in sleep. But if you are agentic in your life, if you don't let the algorithms run your life, if you stop watching Slop and letting the Slop control you and steer you and manipulate you, then your sleep and your dreams are for you and of you, and your dreams are inspiring dreams that only you would have. But if you keep watching the Slop, idiot, then you dream of Fruit Island and glass fruit and honey keyboards and weird gorilla AI ASMR. And I just don't want that for you. I want your dreams to be weird and wonderful. I think whenever they figure out how to control our dreams, that'll really be the end of it. Our dreams are such an untouchable space. And that's one reason why sleep is so beautiful and interesting and important. And I think that you should. I think that you should sleep. And further, you should acknowledge the preciousness of that sleep. You should acknowledge how wonderful it is that you have no control over what happens when you just whoosh, release yourself into the machinations of your subconscious. When you just release yourself into the wilds of the deepest parts of your mind. When you release yourself from control and you release yourself from conscious agency, but instead of that agency moving into another worldly entity like Google or YouTube or TikTok, the agency moves into your subconscious, and you get to speak to yourself the most important thoughts that you don't realize you need You can't be used in your sleep. Not by anyone else except for yourself. That's you time. And that's why it's good. One of the reasons why it's good. You have to relax and sleep. Or you could just watch Slop. You could just click away and scroll 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 until your mind bleeds out of your ears and your mind starts dribbling out of your mouth and your mind starts bleeding out of your nose, and then all of a sudden out of all of your orifices comes yourself, and you are empty, just like my friend back there, and you are penetrated with the sword of judgment. Because that's what happens when you let Slop colonize you. Colonize your mind. But you could do that. You could make that choice, free will and all that. You could do that. You could watch Slop. You could be a good little vector of brain rot, seeding out submission and distrust into the world in all the wrong ways. Submission to corporations and distrust of our neighbor. Tribalism, unnecessary tribalism, judgment. A couple weeks ago, the gospel at Mass, kind of the core of it was that it's not up to us to weed the world. It's up to us to make sure we don't become weeds ourselves, which is, like plants kind of stay the same plants. Wheat will never turn into a weed. I can't think of any name for a weed right now. Wheat can't just turn into that, but it's like a metaphor, and I feel like sometimes like Jesus had to think on his feet, so sometimes his metaphors didn't make very much sense because he had to really come up with it fast, because probably the original sentiment of whatever he said was in like the angelic, super crazy language that none of us could understand, right? It was probably like, and you obviously can't tell that to a whole bunch of first century Hebrew people. So he said something about how you shouldn't weed, and instead you should just try not to become a weed yourself. And I think that's pretty good for coming up with metaphors on the fly. People expected so much of Jesus, especially really good metaphors. And I think that's a lot of unfair pressure to put on someone who's just a man. And in fact, that's even a lot of pressure to put on God, because God's first language wasn't English. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and hope that you're asleep by now. I'm gonna go ahead and hope that you're asleep by now. And I guess I also hope that you are pretty relaxed and that you've been enjoying this. And if you hate it, then you can let me know. Or you could just go watch Slop instead. Idiot.